The good news is we finally know what brand new cabinet minister Bill Blair is supposed to be doing with his time. Now, the bad news is that his job is to find new and exciting ways to grab your guns. After nearly 2 months on the job in a ministry created just for him, Bill Blair, the Minister of Border Security and Organized Crime Reduction, has finally received his job description and a mandate letter from the Prime Minister. Now, according to his mandate letter, Bill Blair is supposed to lead the government's plan on irregular migration. Now, Trudeau never says exactly what that plan is, or even if the intent is to stop all this illegal border crossing. Bill Blair is also supposed to lead conversations with the United States on the Safe Third Country Agreement. Again, no mention of actually closing the loophole that is permitting thousands and thousands of people to stream illegally across our border and then claim asylum from the United States. But today, I'm actually going to talk to you about Bill Blair's new role in implementing the Liberals' gun control agenda. Now, this is again directly from Bill Blair's mandate letter. Bill Blair is supposed to support the Ministry of Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness on the passage of Bill C-71 and work together on additional policy, regulations, or legislation that could reduce crime involving the use of firearms and keep Canadians safe. Bill Blair should lead an examination of a full ban on handguns and assault weapons in Canada while not impeding the lawful use of firearms by Canadians. Weird last sentence there. But there you have it. We've heard all the musings. We've all made our assumptions based on the Public Safety Ministry's ongoing support of Toronto Mayor John Tory's pursuit of a full gun ban in his city. And we clearly assumed right. The Liberals are looking at ways to strip lawful Canadians of their legally owned firearms. Firearms those Canadians have never committed any crime with. And firearms those Canadians have followed all the rules to own. And firearms those Canadians paid a heck of a lot of money for. Now, according to Justin Trudeau, the Liberals are not going to impede the use of your firearms. They're just going to come along and snatch them away from you. So, I don't know, get your head around that Liberal doublespeak if you can. Now, did you notice the Liberals never ever define what an assault weapon is? So you can pretty well put your money on the fact that they mean most, or if not all, semi-automatic firearms. Now, let's talk about Bill Blair for a second. He was the police chief in Toronto as Toronto started to take a turn from Toronto the good to Toronto the violent. Bill Blair didn't have the solutions to stop gun violence in Toronto then, so why would he have the answers to stop gun violence in Toronto now? As police chief, Bill Blair, in conjunction with Mayor John Tory, ended the police policy of carding, cutting off a valuable intel tool for police to combat gang violence. And then gang violence predictably exploded in Toronto. And yet, somehow, insanely, Bill Blair's the minister at the federal level responsible for stopping gang violence. Yeah, good luck with that. Now the Liberals are telling us that this thing is just going to be a study to see if grabbing our guns is somehow doable. But does anybody really think that this study is going to go any other way but in favor of a ban? When we know anybody from the firearms rights side of this whole argument has been completely written out of the consultation and discussions process with regard to gun control in this country. The vice president of Ottawa's own Firearms Advisory Committee, Natalie Prevost, is a longtime gun control activist, not unbiased or without her very own gun control agenda. Now, she's been accused of writing the bulk of the Liberals' latest gun law, C-71. The Liberals have been listening to gun control activists instead of gun experts or even crime experts for that matter. 3 of Canada's top cops have come out against the Liberals' latest foray into gun control because they say it's a complete and total waste of police resources to focus on the law abiding when the problem is organized crime in major urban metropolitan areas. A radio station in Swan River, Manitoba, has taken to defending themselves against violent attacks, what they've gone so far as to call domestic terrorism against them. On their Facebook page, this station said this: as many residents of Swan River are aware, last week CJ Radio received an anonymous threat, and the threat was indicated that we had 1 week to cease operations in Swan River or our business would be burned to the ground. Coupled with a rash of recent break-ins, break-in attempts, and damage to our building, we have no choice but to consider the threat credible. To be clear, we consider any threats of a similar nature to be domestic terrorism, whether it is directed at our company, another company, or an individual. No one in Canada should face such threats. Now, the station says they started doing their own unarmed patrols at the building. And they said that Swan River RCMP are simply not able to provide a level of protection that is consistent with unarmed patrols being able to receive assistance when they need it. The station said they are unwilling to place the safety of their unarmed staff at the level of risk currently being presented by the lack of police presence in Swan River. The police aren't helping them. So the station staff are looking out for themselves now. They have made the decision that any of the station's patrols or overnight occupancy efforts will include at least one member who is licensed to carry firearms in Canada. The station said not to worry, they're going to follow all the laws, but they are protecting themselves against this so-called domestic terrorism because the police simply cannot. The station said that they have instructed their staff to use lethal means of ending any threat against the lives of their employees. This is the reality outside of the Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal bubble. Police are minutes away when seconds count. The Liberals want to render those people in rural Manitoba, rural Canada actually, helpless and unable to defend themselves against criminals because Bill Blair and John Tory set the stage for the violent wave of crime that is unfolding now somewhere thousands of kilometers away in Toronto. For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. Big tech loves to censor conservatives, but we have a way around that. We have our own Rebel Media mobile app. It's available on the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. Download it, give it a try, and help us fight internet censorship wherever you go.